Every Sunday, Pat Sullivan from Sullivan Hardware and Garden gives us great advice for do-it-yourself home improvements. Today, he's showing us some of the things you need to do to your lawn right now before winter settles in.
You know, I know that you think the only thing left to do on your lawn is the raking. Sure, raking is important, but there's so much more to do because now that we've had a little bit of rain, I know you've been whining and whining, my lawn's dead, it's so dry. Well, look, a little bit of rain that we get, and all of a sudden, from the roots, here comes the grass growing actively right now. So what should you do? A couple things. One, now is the time to aerate your lawn, a core aerification. That's when you pull a plug out. You can go together with some neighbors and rent a machine. Doesn't cost that much. Have the last guy take it back. It's kind of an awkward machine, but does a great job. So you pull a plug out. Have you seen those shoes that have the little spikes on them? One, you could probably break your hip with that thing, but you don't want a spike. That compacts the soil. You want something to pull a plug out. So if what you're doing isn't pulling a plug out, you shouldn't be doing it because you're compacting the soil. The other thing, fertilize, fertilize, fertilize. This is the time. Everyone's excited about their lawn in the spring, so they put all this fertilization that goes right to the top growth. Well, fertilizer in the fall, because the movement in the plant is down toward the root, fertilizing in the lawn or killing weeds in the lawn, this is the time to do it. So right now I would use a high nitrogen fertilizer. I would not go with the low 10%. I would get something between 25, 30% nitrogen, and this is when I'd fertilize right now, and then I would fertilize again in late November. Weed killing, absolutely. Again, same thing where the fertilizer is going towards the root, the weed killer goes towards the root too. Movement in the plant down. So weed killers become more effective. So in the spring, a lot of times you're spraying and all you're doing is burning the top off the weed. So this is going to kill the entire weed. Now I know it's hard to do this stuff because you don't care about your lawn, you're sick of cutting, but if you do these things right now, your lawn is going to be a lot better, and then you'll look pretty sharp in the spring with your buddies. All right, now a few other things. So weed killing, fertilization right now for sure. A couple mistakes people make. Hydrangeas especially. There's hydrangeas, you trim hydrangeas if it's the blue and pink ones in August, all right? So when you go cutting them right now, you actually cut off the color for the next year. But everyone tends to, got to clean up the garden. So you get out there and you start pruning stuff. Well, if you don't know what you're doing. So rule of thumb is if it blooms before June the 30th, you prune it right after it blooms. Hydrangeas are a little different. Roses, same thing. Everybody wants to clean up the roses, and if you cut them down too far, then the hard winter comes and then it kills more of the wood. Then you end up cutting it way back. Ideally, you want the rose to be about 18 inches. So granted, if it's 4 foot right now, you can go ahead and cut it back to, say, 3 foot, 30 inches, something like that. And then in March, then you cut it the rest of the way down. All right, now, if it's a shrub rose, like a knockout rose, you can go ahead and just mulch lightly on, or not, well, a nice layer of mulch is nice, but it's the hybrid teas that you're trying to protect that graft. So a little different. The shrub roses, the knockouts, they don't take as much winter protection as the hybrid teas do. So hybrid teas, more mulch, cap, whatever you want to do. A lot to do. There's more than just raking. Fertilize the lawn. Did I mention that?
A lot of good tips there before winter settles in. Pat Sullivan, thank you.